Hi guys, we're going to do solve by substitution, but I know I have viewers that are Mr. Stonish and Miss Ramsey and Miss Wyrick. Ramsey, excuse me. Why did I say Ramsey? And Miss Wyrick. So there's some differences, and I'm just going to make sure that I'm making a video that applies to everybody. So this 3-9 video is going to apply to everybody, although my students, the second half is not something we're going to be doing. Okay, so solve by substitution. We're going to use solve by substitution when we have one equation where the variable, one of the variables is by itself next to the equal. So n equals. And we're going to sub in what that's equal to, the 2t minus 3. We're going to sub that in to the equation in place of this n right here. Okay, so I'm going to manipulate the board kind of so you can see how I see it in my head, and then I'll show you how to write it. Okay, so what I see in my head is that if n equals 2t minus 3, and this says 2 times n, then I can take the n out and I can put this in its place. I just got to move this stuff over. Okay, that's how I see it in my head. And then you have to put parentheses around it to hold it all together. Okay, and then you solve it from there. So that's how substitution works. Okay, so one more time, taking the n out and putting this in its place, because that's what n equals, with parentheses around it. You have to put the parentheses because 2 times. Okay. So how we write that is 2, then instead of the n, parenthesis, 2t minus 3, parenthesis, then finish copying the rest, plus 5t equals 30. Okay, then we're going to distribute 4t minus 6 plus 5t equals 30. Then we're going to combine like terms. So 4t plus 5t is 9t. Bring down your minus 6 equals 30. Then we've got a basic two-step. Divide by 9, and t equals 4. So that's part of our solution. T equals 4. Okay, that's kind of phase 1. Set up and solve for a variable. Phase 2, we're going to take our t equaling 4 and sub it in to an equation. If I want to know n, the top one, n equals, is the easiest one to use. So n equals 2 times, instead of t, we're going to put 4 minus 3, and 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay, so remember, at this point, technically I'm done. I've got my solution. However, these problems are a lot of work, and you know that you have to check them. So I'm going to pick the other equation. 2 times n plus 5 times t equals 30. Now n was 5. Be careful subbing in. You might be subbing in a different order than you solved. And t was 4. So 2 times 5 is 10. 5 times 4 is 20. 10 plus 20 is 30. These match, they tell me it's correct. Okay, you can also sub into the other equation, but I don't make my kids do that. Okay, this is the next up level that I don't teach in class, but you may be doing if you're not my student. Okay, here's the problem. Normally I would see this x right here, and I would just take whatever's after it and put that in for x. But I can't because this doesn't say x equals, it says x plus. So the bottom line is I don't have this as an x equals. So before I can do any substitution at all, I'm going to have to get x by itself. I want this to be x equals. So I'm going to subtract 2y off both sides. Now I just have x by itself. Okay, so when I see a variable that has no coefficient in front of it, that means I can, in one step, easily isolate it by moving the other term to the other side. If I move 2y to the other side of the equal, okay, opposite side, opposite sign. So it was plus, now it's going to be minus. So minus 2y plus 15. It would also be perfectly fine for you to write 15 minus 2y. Doesn't matter. The wrong thing to do is to say this is 13 of something, because 2 has a y, 15 doesn't. We can't actually subtract. Okay, so now we have that part done. Now we can do the substitution. I can take 4x, but instead of x, I'm going to put this in parentheses, negative 2y plus 15 minus 5y equals 8. Move this down a little bit. And then distribute. So negative 8y plus 60 minus 5y equals 8. Combine like terms. Negative 8y and negative 5y is negative 13y. Basic two-step. Okay, that's a lot of work. We're not even done yet. All we know is that y equals 4. We still now have to go back and sub in. So x plus 2y equals 15. I just found out that y equals 4. Okay, so x plus 8 equals 15, multiplying that together. Subtract 8 both sides. 15 take away 8 would be 7. Okay, so a lot less work to get the other variable, but getting the first one's tough. Then our check. Okay, so 4 times, I just found out x is 7, minus 5 times our y value is 4, and we're going to see if it equals 8. So 28 minus 20, and it does equal 8. Okay, so that is solved by substitution. All right. Thanks. Have a great day.